The hot words assignment is actually an AVID strategy that helps you to outline the important information in a chapter or a section or something like that. And so we're going to look at how it is that you go about completing this hot word assignment. So what I've done is I've turned to chapter 15, section 2, Kings, Nobles, and the Magna Carta. And the first thing you're going to do, or want to do, is to count up how many paragraphs there are that you're going to need to be working with. Now, for our situation, we're not going to include the background knowledge. And then as I flip through here, we are also not going to be including the looking back and ahead section as well. So we can just kind of disregard those as if they're not there. So I'm going to turn back to the beginning. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to count up how many paragraphs there are, so that way I can make sure I know how many paragraphs or hot words I need to come up with. So I'm going to start here with the Norman Conquest. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to skip this quote. 14, here's a little paragraph right here. 15, 16, 17, 18. So there are 18 paragraphs that I'm going to need to deal with. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to start off at the very beginning. And so what I'm going to do then is I got my sheet of paper and I'm going to label it 15-2 hot words. And the first thing I do is I need to read the first paragraph, and the idea behind the hot words is I read a paragraph and I can basically from reading it figure out what the main idea is. And once I know what the main idea is, then I come up with a word, what we'll call a hot word, but a word that basically represents the main idea of that paragraph. And so as I've read through this, I've realized that this paragraph is all about these guys called the Normans. So for paragraph number 1, and I'm going to write this down right here, number 1, I'm going to use the word Normans as my hot word. And so I've got my hot word Normans right there. I'll put a little dash. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a summary sentence that summarizes the main ideas or facts in this particular paragraph. And I'm going to make sure that I include 2 main ideas or facts that I pull from there. And so as I've read through it, I realized that these guys became great feudal lords and that they collected taxes from their traders who crossed their lands. So I'm going to say that. The Normans were great feudal lords who collected taxes from traders across their lands. Okay, and then I've got my hot word, and I know that great feudal lords was one of the facts that I collected, so I'm going to underline that. And then these guys collected taxes from traders who crossed their lands. Was my second main fact that I grabbed from these guys. So I've got my hot word now, I've got my sentence I created, and I've underlined the 2 important facts that I've pulled from this particular paragraph. So once I've got that, now I'm ready to move on to the second paragraph. I'll do the exact same thing. So here's my second paragraph. And it just happens to be a blue subsection, but that doesn't matter. It's my second paragraph. I'm going to read that. I'm going to come up with some form of a hot word for it, and then I'll write my sentence. I'll underline my 2 facts that I created in that sentence, and then I'm ready to move on to number 3. And I work my way through the whole section, and as we figured out before, there's 18 different paragraphs. So I'm going to have 18 different hot words and 18 different sentences.